Ever wondered why stress seems to be an inevitable part of your life? In our world that moves at breakneck speed, stress often feels like an unwelcome constant. But what if we told you that it's not the stress itself, but our reaction to it that matters? Enter Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that offers a unique lens through which to view this modern problem. Stoicism encourages us to shift our focus away from trying to control the uncontrollable external events and instead concentrate on what we can control, our responses and attitudes. It's not the traffic jam that's stressful, but how we react to it. It's not the looming deadline that causes angst, but our attitude towards it. By learning to distinguish between what's within our control and what's not, we can navigate life's stressful situations with more poise and less panic. So by shifting our focus, we can better handle the stress in our lives. Now you may ask, how exactly do we manage stress through Stoicism? It's a great question, and the answer lies in the application of some key Stoic strategies. Firstly, consider negative visualization. This practice involves mentally preparing for potential challenges or unfortunate events. It might sound a bit bleak, but it's not about dwelling on the negative. Rather, by contemplating possible difficulties, you equip yourself with a kind of mental armor, making you more resilient when those challenges do arise. It's like rehearsing for a performance. The better prepared you are, the more confidently you can navigate the stage of life. Secondly, let's talk about mindfulness, a buzzword you've probably heard before. But what does it mean in the context of Stoicism? Well, it's all about being present in the moment, focusing on the here and now, rather than fretting about the past or future. This strategy encourages us to take a step back, to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment or resistance. By doing so, we can recognize stress for what it truly is, not a concrete reality, but a response to our perception of events. Another Stoic strategy is the dichotomy of control. This principle reminds us to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. We can't control external events, but we can control our responses to them. By focusing on what is within our control, we can minimize the stress that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The more you squeeze, the more it slips away. But if you relax your grip, you can carry it with ease. Lastly, practice acceptance. Stoicism teaches us to accept the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. By accepting reality, we can reduce the stress that comes from resisting what is. It's like swimming with the current rather than against it. With these strategies, stress no longer seems so overwhelming, does it? It's not about eliminating stress entirely, but rather changing our relationship with it. And in that shift, we find the strength to face life's challenges with grace and resilience. Anxiety, another common struggle, can also be addressed with Stoicism. Just as a ship navigates stormy seas, we too can traverse the turbulent waters of anxiety with the compass of Stoicism. It's easy to get lost in a sea of worries about the future or regrets about the past. But Stoicism teaches us to focus on the present, on what's here and now. This philosophy encourages us to identify what's in our control and what's not. We can't control external events or other people's actions, but we can control our thoughts, our reactions, and our actions. By focusing on these, we can alleviate the anxiety that often springs from external circumstances. It's like turning down the volume on the noise of the world, so we can hear our own thoughts more clearly. This simple shift in perspective can make a world of difference. So, Stoicism provides a framework to manage not just stress, but anxiety as well. But how do we practically apply Stoicism to handle anxiety? That's a question many of us may ask. The answer lies in Stoic mindfulness techniques, which offer practical steps for managing anxiety more effectively. Firstly, let's explore the practice of journaling. This isn't just jotting down your day's events, but rather it's about identifying and challenging irrational thoughts. It's about taking the time to put your thoughts onto paper and dissect them. By doing so, you can recognize patterns, identify triggers, and work towards changing your thought process. This exercise in self-reflection encourages you to confront your thoughts head-on, rather than letting them linger in the back of your mind, causing unnecessary anxiety. Next, we have the technique of embracing the present moment. In the hustle and bustle of life, it's easy to get caught up in worrying about the future or ruminating over the past. But remember, the present moment is all we truly have. By focusing on the here and now, we can reduce the anxiety brought on by uncertainties of the future or regrets from the past. This is about cultivating mindfulness, staying present, and experiencing life as it unfolds, one moment at a time. Finally, let's talk about contemplating the impermanence of circumstances. Everything in life is transient. The good times don't last forever, but neither do the bad. Recognizing this can help us maintain perspective during challenging times. So when anxiety strikes, remind yourself, this too shall pass. This phrase is a powerful reminder that our current circumstances, no matter how difficult, are only temporary. In essence, Stoic mindfulness techniques involve journaling to identify irrational thoughts, embracing the present moment, and contemplating the impermanence of circumstances. These practices equip us with powerful tools to manage anxiety effectively. Remember, it's not about eliminating anxiety altogether, but rather learning to navigate it with grace and resilience. After all, the goal of Stoicism isn't to suppress our emotions, but to respond to them in a way that serves us best. Life is full of setbacks, but did you know Stoicism can help us deal with them too? Stoicism, a philosophy grounded in understanding the nature of life, urges us to accept setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities. This perspective shift is at the heart of Stoic resilience. Consider the obstacles that come your way. In the grand scheme of life, they are but external events beyond your control. What you can control, however, are your responses to these events. Stoicism encourages us to rise above these challenges, to learn from them, and to grow stronger. Every setback is an opportunity to practice patience, adaptability, and courage. It's an opportunity to cultivate virtues that will serve you well in life. So the next time you face a setback, remember, it's not a roadblock, but a stepping stone on your path to personal growth. Stoicism thus turns setbacks into stepping stones towards growth. So how do we bounce back from setbacks using Stoic principles? Setbacks, disappointments, failures. Life is riddled with these moments that can feel like the end of the world. But within the teachings of Stoicism, we find the tools to transform these situations into opportunities for growth and resilience. One such tool is the premeditation of adversity. It may sound pessimistic, but it's actually a powerful strategy for mental preparation. This practice involves envisioning potential setbacks before they occur. By doing so, you prepare your mind for the possibility of adversity, reducing the shock and emotional turmoil when it does occur. It's not about expecting the worst, but rather being prepared for it. Then, there's the strategy of using setbacks as learning opportunities. The Stoics believe that every setback is a lesson in disguise. When you face a setback, instead of allowing it to consume you, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience make me stronger, wiser, more resilient? This strategy shifts your perspective from victimhood to empowerment, fostering personal growth and resilience. Remember, the Stoic way isn't about eliminating setbacks or adversity. It's about changing our perception and reaction to them. It's about understanding that we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. In the words of Epictetus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This perspective allows us to bounce back from setbacks, not with resentment or regret, but with wisdom and strength. So the next time you face a setback, remember these Stoic strategies. Premeditate adversity to prepare your mind, and view every setback as a lesson, an opportunity for growth. With these strategies, setbacks become lessons, not failures. They become stepping stones, not stumbling blocks on your path to becoming a more resilient, more Stoic individual. Let's look at some real-life examples of people who have successfully applied Stoic principles. Consider the story of James Stockdale, an American vice admiral who was a prisoner of war in Vietnam for over 7 years. Stockdale relied on Stoic philosophy to endure his captivity, focusing on his internal reactions rather than the external torture he could not control. Next, think about Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States. Despite facing numerous setbacks in his personal and political life, Roosevelt remained resilient, embodying the Stoic principle of turning adversity into an opportunity for growth. Lastly, let's look at modern entrepreneurs like Tim Ferriss, who regularly practices and promotes Stoic principles, using them to navigate the high-stress world of startups and venture capitalism. Their stories illustrate the practicality and power of Stoicism in real-world scenarios.